Welcome to the Novel Idea Society. I am Sam Maciag. This is Iryn Tushabe. And this month we are talking about her novel, Everything Here is Fine.
You can say it like that.
Everything here is fine. Everything here is fine. I mean, it really depends on how you read the sentence, but also if you've read the book, you understand everything here is fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Mm-hmm. The book is set in Uganda. Iryn is also from Uganda, but there's lots of things that I think you've probably taken from your life experience here in Canada. There's some journalism references. I wonder where those came from. So first of all, before we talk about the writing of the book, you got on the list for Canada Reads. Tell me about what that was like. I know that you didn't make the short list, but you made the long list, and the long list is still not a very long list. It's 10 books.
Right.
So tell me how you found out you were on the Canada Reads long list. What was that like?
It was incredibly surprising and really exciting also. I went to do an interview with Adam Hunter at CBC at the morning edition, and I was like, my heart was like a bird's. It's like beating so fast. It's just like, slow down. We have time. I was that excited. I couldn't get string words together.
So who told you? How did you find out?
My publicist at House of Anansi had told me a couple of days before. And, they tell you these things and they say you can't tell anybody. You have to wait until they make the announcement themselves. I did tell someone.
I was going to say, did you tell someone? Who did you tell?
Well, I told my partner, a couple of people at a party.
We're celebrating. Everything's fine. It's fine.
Just like, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I'm sure they told. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
But you were excited.
I was so excited. Because you write your first book and, it's your first book. You're learning how to write and you're glad that you managed to, keep working at it for however many years. Mine took 6, almost 7 years. And you put it out there and it's just, it's your first book. It's not going to go too far. You hope that the next one perhaps will be better because now you've strengthened some writing muscles. I'm surprised every time it makes any long list or anytime anybody reads it and says, it resonated with them or, something they remember from it. It just continues to surprise me in a very, very good way.
What was it like the first time you saw it in a bookstore?
Actually, a friend of mine saw it first. Tori Gillis
okay.
Saw it first, and she took a photo of it, and it was at the front of chapters, and she sent me a photo. I could not believe it. And I went and visited it.
Did you sign it?
No.
I love watching those TikTok videos of authors who go in and they film themselves like signing their books and putting them in, and then their fans try to figure out which Target they've gone to try and get the signed copy of their book.
People do that.
Okay, it's your book.
Yeah.
You can sign it.
I was going to Halifax, and I saw someone in the airport sitting across from me in the waiting area, and they were reading my book. And I was just so glad I had my mask on because she was like, can she tell from the back photo? Is she going to tell? Because I kept there's the photo.
Well, here's the thing. So here's the picture. The picture. When I'm reading a book, I typically don't know what the author looks like till I get to the end of the book. So you might have been okay.
I might have been okay.
Or were you really tempted to be like, that's my book?
I kept studying her reaction. She's hating it. I'm not going to introduce myself. It's just you wrote a horrible book. So I did not introduce myself.
6 years.
Yeah.
How did this story start?
Oh my goodness. Okay. This is going to be kind of a long...
a short story long?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So I come from Uganda. I came to go to the University of Regina here. Studied film, studied journalism. And then there's a period after I'd been working at the CBC for a little bit. And then they give you a post-graduation work permit once you graduate. And it's only 6 years. And I forgot to renew it, to start the application process to get it renewed early enough. So it expired before I had any states. So Citizen and Immigration Canada said you can stay, but you can't work.
Cool. How do you pay your bills?
Right? And I still have student debt. I'm like, okay, I guess I will just watch it grow and grow. So very nerve-wracking period of time. Can't work. And they never tell you how long your application is going to be. Just wait. These things take as long as they take. But that's when I started writing. And I was working, just like short stories. And then it started as a short story too, but it kept getting bigger and bigger. And it was that first draft I was writing it from the first person, and it had a lot of my experiences of having grown up evangelical Christian, having grown up a queer woman who is evangelical Christian. I realized I was bisexual around 15, 14, even maybe before. But I went to a Christian boarding school, and the idea, is that you pray this away. It's not the way God wants you to be. And so I think when I was writing, but as I grew up and as I came to Canada, I kind of severed my ties with God, and I was no longer Christian. But I think in the writing of that draft, I was kind of purging all of that. That
was like a release for you.
Yeah, really. So it made for me cathartic writing, kind of vomiting all the bad things onto the page, and then you feel good after. But the book itself was not good. That draft was not good at all.
More like a journal entry.
Yeah, like a long 100,000 word journal entry.
It was 100,000 words in a first draft.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I would just sit on my computer and type whatever came to mind, and so. Like once I finished it too, I realized that this is not a story that I could even try to salvage into anything. But I had been taking some kind of creative writing courses, how to write fiction, I would just like write vignettes and large scenes of just things that there was no there was no shape to it that is kind of recognizable as narrative fiction.
Was that just to practice getting detail and descriptors in there?
I think so.
Because I think that's something that is so different coming from like a journalism background to going into like writing a novel.
Yeah.
The details are much more factual and sparse in a news way, where I mean, you think of someone like Charles Dickens who could have got paid by the word, the way things were described, like over-described. But learning to craft a description to give an actual picture is really, really hard.
And also to kind of write it in a storytelling way, right? So there are details that are not necessary. Like you want to leave some gaps because people know things that they can fill in themselves. So you don't want to overtell because then that becomes a boring story. Or, so I think I was trying to, at that point, I was trying to tell a story that was interesting. Like they tell you, like write a book that you would want to pick up, like a book you would have wanted to read. Yeah. And but you also want to be surprised, right? Like when you're writing fiction, you want to have characters that keep drawing you back because otherwise you'll abandon the project. You also want to go on a bit of an adventure, right? So now I was thinking, I'm going to tell this story. Like I told my story in the big draft that nobody will ever read, but now I can tell a nice story that I can visit with these siblings and observe them and have them surprise me. And so then it made for that I was always looking forward to coming to doing the writing, to see where Aine might go today, what kind of decisions she might make. And she's a teenager, and she made incredibly different choices than I made growing up. And that made it exciting because, that's fiction. Like fiction, if we're making things up, let's make things up that are exciting, that are in a world that, kind of how we wish the world were. Or that not necessarily how it is.
Almost like revisionist history for yourself. Yes. Like, oh, I wish I could have ran away from my mom.
Absolutely.
Was that a storyline that was familiar to you or personal to you?
Oh, my brother did run away. I did not. Actually, when I came out to my mom was a Christian. I was Christian too, and she was incredibly kind about it. Like kind in the sense of, okay, this is something that I know to be true, but we're also Christians. We'll pray about it, right? Don't tell people, right? It would just be our little secret. But I never felt like she was doing it in a way coming from a place of hate. I guess she knew how difficult the world could be for someone who, who was queer in a country that punished queerness. And that's how she knew. I guess that's how she knew to parent me.
Protectionist.
Yeah.
So your brother ran away.
He did run away.
Did he run away to you?
No.
I was like, are we just bringing those storylines here?
The thing about he went away and he came back.
As they do.
Right. But I also know that disinheritance is something that gets used quite a lot in communities where, like shunning. Mm-hmm. Like Christians, they will say, okay, if you can't adhere to how we live here, then nobody would talk. I think Jehovah's Witness people do this, but some other religions might too.
Oh yes, if you're Mormon, you can be excommunicated.
Yes,
or Scientologists also. Yeah. Not to put those on the same plane, but yeah, like there's certain faith groups
that do that,
do excommunicate members,
and unfortunately, some families do, where it just seems like the parents have rigid ideas of what they expect of their children, and they don't want to be the laughingstock of the village. So if you can't do as they say, then you just they ask you to leave. My sister was disinherited for a different reason.
What did she do?
She became pregnant while in secondary school.
Oh.
And so then...
Scandalous.
Yeah, very scandalous.
What year was that?
She would have been, I guess, 17.
What year? Like what year in the year of our Lord?
Very contemporary. Not a very long time ago.
But like 2015, 2016, early 2000s.
Maybe 1990-ish. Yeah.
Oh, so in the 90s, that would still be kind of scandalous.
It's very,
yeah. It's where now it's a little more...
Yeah.
It's not great.
There's a little more acceptance, I suppose.
It's not great, but it's not... You're not sent off to a nunnery.
Yeah. Yeah, like go have the baby and then we'll pretend it never happened.
That you went on a vacation.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So how many siblings do you have?
Very many.
What?
At the time of my birth, my dad had 2 wives.
Okay.
So my mom was kind of like the youngest wife. It's just like a whole different... I will have to write a different novel for all of that.
I have so many questions. You had me at 2 wives, but okay.
Yeah, 2 wives, but he also had another wife before the 2 of them who left. I guess just like, I can't do this whole polygamous bullshit.
So how many siblings do you have?
I would say like 13 that I know.
But not all in the same house at the same time?
No, like just like my dad. And then just with my mom, the siblings that I grew up with, that's 4 of us. Oh, yeah, 5 of us. But all the others were also in my life. They came and went. They were much older than me. So when I was younger, they were around, but then, they got married and now as an adult, I've kind of reconnected with them. But when I was growing up, it was just my siblings and my immediate full siblings, not my half ones.
So I have so many questions about the 2-wife thing, but I'm gonna put that on a shelf now. No, that's not what we're here to talk about. Even though because we will go on the craziest side quest. We're gonna try and stay focused on the book. But I did want to ask about your relationship with your dad, because main character has quite a relationship with her dad. Did you have a relationship like that with your dad, or do you know, where did you pull that relationship from? And if it wasn't your dad, who was it that you could compare it to?
That's very interesting. I was so when I was growing up, my dad was kind of a Pan-Africanist. He was always reading books by African revolutionaries. He kind of even made fun of us, like my mom and my siblings, for kind of converting to evangelical Christianity. It was like, that stuff was going to rot your brains. Like, don't do that. So he had been an English teacher a very long time ago. So he had all these books at home. So he was the sort of, he was a reader. But he was also, he was also kind of that sort of traditional African man who, what I say goes. Don't
a presence, if you will.
Yeah, don't try to like be clever with me, sort of thing. Like he knew more.
I
think he knew what was best for you.
That might just be a dad thing in general. That don't try to be clever with me.
Yeah,
I feel like I've got that line from my dad.
But he won't disinherit you if you do something.
I'm kidding.
I hope not.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So I think that like that father-daughter relationship that Aine has with her dad, a little bit of it is my personal experience, because when I was growing up too, I was very interested in language. In primary school, I participated in debate, the competitive debating, which is just like you get adjudicated, but there's a proposition and opposition, and you get to argue something like, should everybody in school wear uniforms, or should we wear whatever we want?
And you're given a side.
And you're given a side, and you get to like passionately defend it, whether you believe it or not. It's just for points. And I liked it in the beginning. I would go to the debate and I'll see these people debating, and they seem to possess kind of like a subtle power that I wanted, just like the clever retorts and these serious arguments, even if the motion was silly, and I really wanted in. But when I was then allowed to debate, I realized that I'm a very nervous public speaker. Like I could see something that I could see, I thought I could do it. But once I took the stage and my legs were shaking and I was sweating through my uniform, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to quit. And then I told my dad that I'm going to quit, and he was like, no, you can't do it. You should debate, because you'll never know if you were good at it, if you quit only after your first try. So then he would help me, would get the motions, whatever we'd be debating about, like on a Thursday, and he'll help me think through my arguments. And they wouldn't tell you if you'll be debating on the opposition or proposition. So he would help me just kind of understand the general idea. And he would say, because he went to school when Uganda was still colonized by the British. Mm-hmm. Some of his teachers were like British Englishmen, and he'd inherited this kind of like affinity for big English words that nobody understood. But he just
big vocabulary,
and just like, don't say the result, say concomitant. Say. So he was just like, that's how all your opponents, like you just like confuse them with diction they don't understand.
Sounds smarter.
Sound very smart.
Yeah.
So I think I could gravitate towards that, because I didn't know. I was really wound up. I was just really wound out. I couldn't be passionate and perform. That's what debate is, just to perform. But so he would help me kind of like loosen up and give me point, just like gesture with your hands and pause for effect and take a sip of water. And so we got close like that. So that when I became a journalist shortly before I left Uganda, and I was going through a journalism institute, and I wrote my first article, and I didn't even know that he'd seen that. But recently my dad died, and I went home for the funeral. This is just last month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I found in a suitcase under his bed. He had it laminated.
Oh, and you bawled.
Of course. Of course.
That's so sweet. So you have that now, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Uganda is a character in this book. I don't know if did you intend Uganda to be a character?
I hope that it would be a character that come off as a character I love.
Yes. No, when I say it's a character,
yeah.
I mean, there's so many references to it that it's almost not to reference Sex in the City, but I'm going to reference Sex in the City. How like New York is a character in that show,
yeah.
And I think Uganda is kind of a character in your story that way. What was Uganda like when you grew up there, and how is it different now?
I think that Uganda, like you experience two different Ugandas if you go to Uganda and stay in the city, in the capital, in Kampala.
Is it like a tourist versus?
It's very
situation?
chaotic.
Oh, okay. Chaos.
I almost can't stand it. Like when I go, it's just like it's too much. The traffic jam, like it's a small country, Uganda. You can fit 9 Ugandas into one Saskatchewan. It's that small of a country.
Okay.
Yet it's extremely highly populated. So when you go to the city, just like elbows everywhere, right? Like try to go through the market. It's just like everyone is elbowing you, trying to sell you some passion fruits or whatever. But I love, like Uganda, is upcountry Uganda, like the village Uganda.
Okay.
Like where I grew up, rural Uganda. And I'm always anxious. Most of my family now lives in the city. My siblings live in the city. So when I go home, I spend a lot of time in Kampala. But I'm always itching to go to the village because like that's what I miss when I'm here. Like when I'm thinking about home, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like the forest. I'm thinking about the baboons. I'm thinking about chimpanzees and birds. I'm thinking about spending all day kind of walking across swamps and forests. And the people also are different in the city than in. I feel like I connect to villagers, just not in a derogatory way, but I feel like they're more honest and more. I can have honest conversations with the aunts and the grandmothers than I can in the city. It's I find it even the students, the people I went to school with in secondary school, and now they're older and they live in the city. They have big jobs, and I find it hard to connect with them. Mostly, I suppose, because when I went to school with them, like we were all Christians, we all had this idea of what would be like as adults, and they've achieved that. Whereas I've kind of moved away from it. I'm like, don't pray for me, stop praying for me, because they want to pray for you. You know, they've seen the book and they've heard that the whole time that they knew you were bisexual, and they have they want to pray for you.
Did it change how you think the friendships that they had with you? Do you think that they see you?
Oh yeah, and like I never told anyone. Like honestly, like writing the book kind of then is how I came out
To anyone who you didn't know personally?
to any and
Was
they knew
there
ahead of time.
fear in that?
Not now. It's just like, right? That's what you're gonna do to me. I'm like I'm not. I guess I'm not as afraid as you would be as a child, as a teenager, depending on your parents, depending on the community, going to schools that you know are Christian schools, so that you know you don't come out because it's dangerous to.
Right.
But now I live out here and I have Canadian citizenship. Like I went and to Uganda this summer, and there was a book launch of Everything is Fine Here.
Yeah.
And it took place at this conference at Makerere University, which is a big university in Kampala. And lots of wonderful people fought for me to go, like other writers.
That's so nice.
Who organized the conference. And the university censored it. And they said, she can be on campus, but the book cannot. And
you're like a banned book?
Just on Makerere, I guess. But
that's so interesting.
But they made it so that I could have my off-campus event and do the book launch at this other cultural community center, which is like a German cultural community center. But for me, just like all the people who worked hard for me to just like make it, I wanted the book to exist in Uganda. I bought copies of the book at my author price, which is half price. And that's all I brought, you know. I filled a suitcase full of Everything's Fine Here. And I just wanted for them to be in a bookstore and for a queer person or anyone questioning to just be able to pick up the book as though, you know, it belonged there, because I believe that it does. Yeah.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you're sort of a banned book.
Yeah, sort of. It was interesting. But I was just grateful that there are people in the community who said, yes, come launch the book. And they started meetings and defended my right to be there. And they made sure that I came, and it was safe for me to do it safely.
That's just really special.
It's so special.
In English, or does this exist in another language?
No, so far it's only in English. But you know, everyone in Uganda speaks English, so that's not a problem at all. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But the language, is it Ugandan?
Oh, yeah.
Because there is some, is that the language you spoke growing up?
Yeah.
So it was just easy for you to just throw in
for sure,
random sentences and then explain what they meant. Okay.
And there are very many languages in Uganda, small country that it is, and yet, you know, I don't like the word tribes because it just is kind of, I don't know, it sounds divisive to me, but that's what they're called. Like my tribe, Bachiga, is the language that I speak. But in Kampala, people would speak Luganda. You go up north and people speak Acholi. That's where one of the characters is from. So about 37 of those exist in the country. And some of the languages
do you speak?
Like
or understand. Maybe not speak, but how many do you understand?
3 or 4. Yeah, because some of them are closely related. Like even Ruchiga has kind of a sister one that's Runyankole. And it's almost the same. The difference is kind of maybe subtle pronunciation and maybe you can tell just by like maybe you could call it an accent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I don't want to compare Polish, Russian, and Ukrainian, but there is so much crossover.
Oh yeah,
in those three languages too.
Oh, I had no idea.
in that European world. So every now and then,
yeah,
my family's from Poland.
Yeah.
Do you speak it? Speak it is like a really general term.
Yeah.
I can say thank you and hello, and so I went on this year-long quest to do Duolingo and was very determined. And then my husband and I decided we were going to Italy for our honeymoon. And so I flipped from Polish to I'm going to learn Italian.
Oh my.
Plot twist, you don't need to know Italian in Italy.
No.
But it will completely make you forget all the weird sounds.
Okay.
Apologies to my Polish relatives of the Polish language, because it's weird symbols and machinations. And so where like Italian is much like French,
right,
which if you speak French, you can kind of figure it out on your own. So I have lost some of it, but I know like I can hear it and I'll know some of the things that they're talking about.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my grandparents and my aunt would always switch to Polish when they were talking about us or didn't want us to know what they were saying because they knew that we didn't know the language. So
I do that to my kids.
Do you really?
If I'm speaking to someone at home and talking about them, then I would just like they always know, and they pick up some of the words the way that you can, like just pick one and just put them together. And I know you were talking about me, but you don't know really that much about what I said. I never say bad things about my kids, but every once in a while, I like to complain.
It's funny though. I remember growing up with my grandparents. I remember my grandpa talking to my grandma, and there were certain words that he'd say over and over. And I've learned now that he was just saying like yes, yes, or fine, fine. But at the time, I was like, what is he saying to her? And it's literally like fine, fine, or yes, yes. And I was just like, oh. I mean, when you don't know, it sounds so much more interesting.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you're losing because that's the thing with language. Like even when you speak it so well, and then you go long periods without speaking it, you begin to lose it. You don't realize because in your mind you're thinking
doing this like 3 years ago.
Okay.
So this was not some deep-seated language.
Yeah.
But I am really involved with the Polish community here, and so occasionally Polish priests will come to events and he'll talk. They talk so fast.
Yes.
That is not fair to those of us who are trying to pick up.
That's true.
Every like third word. I'm like, okay, I think this is what they're talking about. But I went to so many Polish funerals as a kid that I could do the rosary.
Yeah.
I did not know what I was saying, but I had it memorized because
it doesn't matter if it's
repetition, right?
Yeah. I love the idea of what you said about people speaking so fast. Because when I was growing up near this forest that then became a national park, we always had tourists come, and I couldn't differentiate between like British accent. Like I was familiar with the British accent from TV because colonialism, but I used to like when American people came out, they sounded different. And my dad, funny guy, he said, "Yeah, that's how white people are. Like they will speak to you if they want you to understand. They'll speak to you the way British people do. If they don't want you to understand, they'll say college, and then you'll be like, what is that? Where is the O? Where did the O go in college? Like they will just confuse you that way." And when I came to Canada to study, I just like at the U of R, and I could speak English well. I'd gone through the whole education system. I could write papers. I'd written journalism articles, but I found it hard to take notes. Like this is
to listen and process, and also
I'm like, why is every professor speaking so fast? How am I supposed to take any notes? Like slow down. It took me a while, even as an adult, to get used to understanding what the professors were saying.
So when did you officially move back to Canada to stay?
I came in 2007, and I never left.
And you never left. You stayed the whole time.
Yeah.
When did you get your citizenship?
2019.
What was that like?
That was interesting. I think there's a
because you had to give up your passport. Yes,
I do, and I can reinstate it. I can become a dual citizen. I haven't got around to it. I want to, but there's kind of it's bittersweet. I think once I was given citizenship and I had been a journalist and I could see some, characteristics of Canada that I loved and some that I did not. I could be critical. I felt like now I had permission to, it's like I pay taxes. I know what's going on. I can criticize. I felt I had permission to now be fully engaged and to participate in conversations that did not, because there's a sense that since you're an immigrant, you should always be grateful for the opportunity to live here.
That you can't criticize because you're so lucky that you got to be here.
And then people would even say, like, well, you don't live here, why don't you go back home, right? So now I could say,
people said that
I belong. Oh my gosh, on articles online, even on CBC, I wrote when I got citizenship. I wrote
a first terrible place.
Yeah, and the first comment was, "Well, go back to your country, your own country." And so then we should never read those things, the comments. We never should. But somehow you're tempted, and then you see just the one, and my first instinct not to read these things.
Have you had those interactions in person?
Not in person. People don't say that to me. I mean, you'll meet the random person in the park who will say, "Where are you from?" But really, really, where are you from? Right? Insisting. It's like as if I could not be from here, right? And it doesn't annoy me as much as if someone says it online for some reason. I feel like people being online emboldens people to say nasty things because they can't face you. And in person, I feel it's easier to explain to someone, to say, yeah, I'm from Uganda, but I also belong here because I like to converse with people. I don't know how to converse with people online because it just always seems so combative and confrontational for it. No reasons. I've done nothing to you. Why are you being mean?
And just come in so hot.
Yes, so hot.
So you write this book over 6 years. You get through the journal portion. You rewrite a book.
Yeah.
How'd you get the book deal? How'd you get the publisher?
So when I was writing the version that seemed to have traction to resemble something like a novel if I finished it, I enrolled in Hamburg School for Writers. They have a correspondence program. It's just like a 1-year thing, but you get a mentor. And you send them pages and they kind of guide you.
Who was your mentor?
My mentor was Alyssa York, who's this brilliant writer that I love. Her last book was The Naturalist, or maybe was that the last book? But she also kind of writes about nature, like stories that are kind of centered around nature and interconnectivity and all of that. So she was a really good mentor for me. And I picked her because she had also taught a creative writing workshop at Sage Hill, which is a retreat here in Saskatchewan. And she had been the fiction teacher. And so once I finished that, and I knew she taught through Humber, I thought, because she gave me such good notes. And I thought I can continue her and have her read a lot more than she had been able to read at that short retreat. So she helped me get started. And through that program, when we graduated, they allowed us to write like a query letter, to write a synopsis of what we were working on. And they put it in a portal that publishers and agents and editors could access. Cool. That was such a helpful thing to do because so many writers take a long time to find an editor, to find an agent. But all of mine just kind of found me through there. My editor, Shira Rose Welinski, she was interested in the book before I finished reading it because she read the first chapter and the synopsis. And so she said, I know you're still working on it. Just know whenever you finish it, you can send it to me and I'll look at it. And then my agent too, that's where she found me and she reached out to me. But then they tell you like, don't go with the first offer that you receive. So I did my own querying. Once I had finished the manuscript, keeping these nice people in my pocket, knowing I had them. But I wanted to do a little shopping of my own. So I was querying agents, querying editors, and finding that they wanted me to change aspects of the novel, to change them in a way I didn't want to. Like, I really like working with editors. I like having someone read the work and say, this doesn't seem to be working. this is working really well. I love that because I'm writing the story for people to be able to understand. But some of the agents and editors, they seem to want to change the story to make it so that it was more tragic for Mbabazi and Achen, the lesbian couple. Like, everybody knows that it's tough being queer in Uganda. So they would ask questions like, how come these two are able to live in the community and live together? And it was hard for me to explain that, yes, it's brutal in Uganda, but people are living this way there. You just, it's possible. I know many queer people living in Uganda.
And some strong assumptions on their part.
Yes. Yeah, publishing is, it's a capitalist enterprise. Mm-hmm. They want, if they take on a book, they want to make sure that many people will reach for it, that mm-hmm. they can sell many copies. And maybe that is the kind of story that people want to read from a first world country that has these draconian laws. They expect a certain kind of story to come from
that a couple just couldn't be happy and live in an apartment together, I mean,
it's not believable that they would live that way.
I mean, the only thing for me is I was like, they just happened to move into an apartment owned by a doctor who never comes home. That is a really wonderful storyline. I was like, can you find me one of those doctors? I'd like to move into their super fancy home. Yeah. But it explains it away, right? Because you were like, how do you square the story?
Yeah.
So did you turn them down? Did you tell them thank you, but no thank you? Did you have anyone who was pushier than others?
No. I mean, I guess, publishers receive a lot of manuscripts. Mm-hmm. I never got the sense, only one editor gave me the sense that if I made these changes she wanted, then she would reconsider. But it wasn't even changed it and I'll for sure take it. And I didn't want to change any of it anyway. So I just came back to my original editor who already reached out to me, and she said she wanted it. And she loved it from the get-go. She wanted the book. And my agent too, I stayed with her. I just it's scary. It's scary trying to shop a manuscript that's finished. You get a lot of pushback, and some of the feedback is great, but some of it is just if I know this, because I love workshopping things. I'm the sort of writer who, I have a group of people, we exchange pages. So it's not as if I'm not sure this is what I want the story to be. I have a vision. I had a vision that I wanted this to be a love story between siblings, but also between the couple. I wanted it to be Aine's coming of age story, and she's struggling through all of these things as teenagers do. It's hard being a teenager, but to also have these kind of older, her partner, her sister and her partner kind of mentor her and bring her into a kind of adulthood that is understanding, that's compassionate, that's that's loving.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things I was not willing to compromise. I was never gonna have Mbabazi or Achen beaten up by police because they're queer. I was never ever gonna do that.
That would have been a totally different story.
Yeah.
That would have taken the story in a totally different direction.
Yeah. And also just I really sometimes I read books that have that kind of violence in them, and sometimes it's just because I love the author and I trust that whatever the story will be, I would take something from it in the end. But I'm generally just really averse to violence. I can't even watch horror. I look at it, I can't look. And in this sense, it just also felt okay, if I were to subject any of these characters to that sort of a thing, that is something that could have happened to me. I think it would have derailed the project. It would have made it so that I don't want to come to it. And I'm easily bored. I write short stories for the most part. I see myself as a short story writer. That's what I love to write. And I think I'm always, when you're writing a novel and it just takes so long and it's never finished, I'm always distracted. I'm oh, I have an idea for a short story.
Side quest.
Yeah, that's more exciting. I feel like I never would have finished the book if it had that sort of things, going on in it.
Did you just write beginning to end? Did you have an outline? Are you a sticky note person? How did you get from point A to point B through this after having 100,000 word journal entry?
I pretty much wrote from the beginning to the end.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't. I don't know how. Like right now, I'm learning how to plot, but I'm like when I write fiction, it's hard to plot. I have an idea of where I want the story to go, but I don't know too much of the middle.
You let the characters take you.
Yeah. Like for this, I mean, I've only written the one book, so that's all I can talk about. But I really admire the writers who can like outline chapters, and I feel like then it goes faster. But for the most part, I'm a pantser. I sit down and I love the exploration. I love the adventure. I love when the characters can surprise me. Like when Aine would do things that I'll be laughing my head off. Like that's great for me because then if she can make me laugh, then I want to spend more time with her. And then I can perhaps think that maybe she will make someone else laugh. It will make and then there's no predictability in it either. That there will be some surprises that can entertain. Because you're telling a story. You just want to tell a good story.
So this was as much for you as it was for everyone else. Like journalism is very public service oriented. It's not for you. And if you think it's for you, you're very much in the wrong field.
Yeah.
But this, you got a lot of satisfaction out of writing it for yourself then.
I really, really did. Like everything else has been the icing, on top of the cake. And I knew that, like every debut novelist, like you write your book and it's your first book and you put it out in the world and nobody knows you. Maybe you sell a few copies to your family and you force your friends to buy the book. But every time it lands on the list, or if I meet someone that says, I really, really liked your book, I'm just like, it's such a gift. Because for me, I felt like it did for me already what I needed it to do.
So everything else is a bonus.
Everything else is just such a bonus. Yeah.
So what are you working on now? Do you have plans for another book? Are you doing like short stories collection?
I'm always writing a short story. Any given time, I always have a short story on the go. And I don't finish many, which is a tricky thing. I guess I maybe because I'm very worshipful of them, I need for it to be a certain standard before I can put it out. So I've only published a few short stories, but I have many on my computer. So I'm always thinking about them. Can I make it? Can I make it different? Can I come back to it, or just start a new one? But I am so I have a few short stories that I'm working on that if I ever get to finish enough of them, there will be a collection hopefully there. But the project that I'm working on mainly right now is nonfiction.
Oh, and what are we writing about? Or is this like very secretive?
I can talk a little bit about it. Just
we're at a party.
I'm like Aine. I don't know how to keep secrets. But like you were talking about plotting or just like writing by the seat of your pants.
You said you're learning to plot. So clearly she's working on something.
Yeah. I'm doing a law residency MFA program and it's only in nonfiction. And so through that, I am learning how to novels work differently than memoir. Because like with novels, you write the book, you send it out and you hope somebody likes it or they'll say change it this way or that. But with nonfiction, you can sell the project on proposal. So you write a proposal
because there's research and all the things you can do that would back it up.
Yeah, and I'd never done that. Like I've written journalism, I've written essays and literary journalism, and that's just a short thing you do it and whatever. But with a longer nonfiction work, I'm finding it's so helpful to be able to plot it, not to just to outline, I suppose. And to think, okay, this is what that chapter will talk about, and this one will talk about that. And I've been learning that through the MFA program. They give you a mentor. And so
where are you doing this through?
King's College Halifax, which is kind of attached to Dalhousie University. Yeah, so I've been doing that for a year. It'll be a year in June.
What's it about?
It's it's memoir, and it's about kind of growing up. So the village where I was born was on the edge of a forest. And when I was about 10 years old, they evicted us from the forest so they could turn the whole thing into a national park.
This sounds like the start of like a fantasy romance novel, but go on.
I should probably pivot to that because it's really hard writing nonfiction, right? Because it's just like everything has to be truthful. You can't make anything up. I love making
that
things
sounds
up.
a little bit like a Sarah J. Maas book, but go on.
Yeah, that'll probably just like be a way more interesting and fun thing to write.
Read about fairies.
Yeah, forest fairies.
Anyways, I've side quested us again.
Yes.
So you were evicted from the forest.
We evicted from the forest, and we were lucky. My family and I were lucky that we got compensation to move to settle somewhere else.
What did you live in when you were evicted from said forest? Were you in a house? What kind of?
Yeah,
it was just a house, and so they just were like, "You can't live here anymore. We're taking the land." Kind of
thing? Yeah. So it's about land and kind of being dispossessed and eviction, and on all kind of these colonial models of conservation that require the removal of people from the land in order to protect the land, in order to conserve the land, as if there's no other way. Like, I mean, I wonder if because once we were evicted, then we're not allowed. Like now, the forest is a park. And the people who live there can't even afford to enter the park because it's expensive. They can't afford it. This is where they used to go to get medicine. Like we used to go, there was a river there. That's where we spent most of our time. We would forage for fruits. We would just eat at the river. Now we can't do that. Nobody can. People would harvest plants that they used to make to make baskets and mats. Now they can't do that. But then they see tourists and birders who come and they're allowed to do whatever, I guess because they can afford it. So it creates this kind of a dynamic where it seems as if the government cares more about the money that they get from the forest and the tourists can afford to pay for it. And they pit that against the people who now have no land, who are now homeless because many of them had acquired their land through kind of colonial tenure system, traditional tenure systems that you don't get a lease, but you know this is your land because your parents lived there and your parents before that lived there. And now you're being asked, where is the title deed? It's like, I've never seen that, but I've also lived here for 50 years without anyone asking me.
Paperwork.
Yeah. So I whenever I go home, I collect the stories of the people because like for us, we could move and build somewhere, but there are people who, because they couldn't leave because they had nowhere to go, like suddenly their houses went up in flames and there are all these game rangers around now carrying AK-47s and you know who set the house on fire, right? But you can't prove it. So it's like I love the forest, but then it also has this story. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like deeply interested in because having grown up on the edge of the forest where it was my after school chore to sit on the edge of our sweet potato garden and keep the baboons away.
How many baboons? Like, how many baboons are we talking about? Like, baboons. Are you there with like a giant stick and like
and
lost?
Rocks? And
no.
Yeah, baboons are so obnoxious.
But how big?
It's
like,
bizarre.
How big? Like, how big are these? I see them in zoos. Yeah. I see them on TV. I have never had to chase off a baboon.
Yeah.
How big is a baboon?
I think it's bigger than a chimpanzee.
That doesn't help.
Okay, but like it's stockier than a big dog.
Is it like 3 feet tall?
No,
2 feet tall?
No, but like so they make themselves big and show you their teeth.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can show them your teeth too.
And then what happens?
Do
they come in like packs or like is it like one at a time?
Sometimes one at a time. And like sometimes sometimes I'll fall asleep and before I know it they're in the kitchen and they're helping themselves to like the whatever. And it was so infuriating. Like I had I gave them like names. I knew them, and there's some like I knew.
What did you name
them? Seriously, I would name them after like the obnoxious boys in my class who was so annoying. Like that's Moscow and whatever.
I appreciate that you are writing this very serious nonfiction story, but why aren't you writing about yourself?
Oh, I'm there too. Okay. I'm there too. I'm there, and I
was like, my dad had 2 wives. I just chase off baboons. I was like, you have such an interesting, and now you're here.
And now I'm here. Yeah. No, it's about all of it. It's about all of it, but it's anchored by, Toni
Place.
Morrison
Anchored by
says,
place.
writers are like water. We always try to go back to where, um, uh,
Water has a memory.
water has a memory. Yeah. And that's my biggest memory. That's one that I always gravitate towards. And like my sister died when I was younger there, and we buried her there.
Oh.
And so her grave is there in the forest. And we went like in 2018. I convinced everyone when I was at home, I was like, let's go see what's there. I mean, if we have to pay, we'll pay. And we ended up not having, because it's far off from tourists, don't even go there. But we went like where our house had been. I went with my dad and my siblings, and we had to like cut to it's all rewilded. It's rewilded.
Like nature took back over.
It took
like
over.
reclaimed the space.
Yeah, and there's a beautiful poetry to that. But also then you begin to think kind of like how has it held our memories there? Because we
ever hear it all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like we went and we found like a pile of bricks. It's like, oh, this is where our house had been, but all of it had been torn down. But we found some bricks, and the whole time I was just thinking, wow, like I wish I could pinpoint where my sister's grave, like it's there somewhere. She's like part of this forest, So I'm writing about that, about always feeling like I still have dreams about that place that now does not exist at all, kind of has been erased.
There's something special about having your sister there, though.
Yeah.
That is your connection to that place.
Yeah.
That you're like literally your DNA
Absolutely
is connected to that place.
Yeah. And I just love being in the forest.
You don't get a lot of that here.
No.
Have you been up north? Like, have you been through PA and through northern Saskatchewan a little bit to get some of the forest situation in Saskatchewan?
My friend Miriam lives up north, and I went there last summer. I got to canoe on the water, and she lives in this gorgeous cabin that's in the woods. And I just felt so at home. But I also learned the stories of the creations of national parks are quite similar across the board. Even here, there were indigenous people who were expelled from their homes and they were not allowed to come back. I was just so appalled, like not so surprised, because colonialism is colonialism. They use the same kind of strategies wherever they go. But there was kind of a symmetry to be thinking about that project and be told, because my friend's partner had relatives who lost their place where they used to live, and when they came back, their cabin had been destroyed, making it so they couldn't live there. Yeah. So I'm writing about all of that. It's a lot, but having kind of outlined it, I feel it's because now like I just started. I write really slowly, really slowly, which is why I can never make a living as a writer. I guess many of us can't, but because I just write too slowly. So I have to give myself permission. If I write 200 words a day, like that's great. I did some thinking. I did whatever I did, but with like having been guided through writing a proposal and thinking about what the chapters can be. Like I've already written 3 chapters, which is like enormous for me.
So do you write every day?
I try to.
Do you have like a space and a time and a don't bug me? Like does your family know when you're in the writing zone, don't bother me?
Yeah, I've told my kids to go away from time to time, and they will say it. I think they can tell. They can tell if I'm writing and it's going well for me. They can tell from my face if they come through the door. By the way, I glare at them. I'm like, "Are you on fire? Are you bleeding? Is there blood? Otherwise, just go away." Mm-hmm. So I have good days and bad days. Now both my kids are in high school. I know you have a high schooler.
She's grade 8.
Grade 8. She'll be in high school.
14 though.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's an interesting age.
It's a really interesting age.
Yes.
She's a good kid.
Yeah.
She's a good kid. She's a good kid. But I remember being her age.
Yeah.
I remember being a teenager. And I think it's hard with hindsight to be like, none of that matters.
Yeah.
But it's that immediate, it's your whole world. This is all they care about. They aren't jaded by the world yet. They don't understand what's to come. So you have to kind of lean into it and just let them be upset about the thing that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because if that's the worst thing that they have to deal with right now, that's okay.
That's gonna be okay.
But it doesn't mean it's not annoying.
Yeah.
But there are some times where I'm just like, you'll realize one day that this wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those feelings are real, and the way they
They're
feel is
real.
real, and the tears are real.
And I think it's just really hard being a teenager.
It's so different from when we were kids. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't have this
Oh my God, yeah.
tethered to my hip. I didn't have to check my notifications. I didn't have to see what my friends were doing. I didn't have to snap back to keep a snap straight. Like, there's so many little society things that kids have to do to just stay relevant within their little friend groups now.
It's so
and we didn't have any of that. I mean, we did to an extent where, like, if you didn't know about things, you were cool.
Yeah.
But it was never about technology or those kinds of things. Like, whether your family had a computer or not,
oh my God,
did not matter.
Yeah.
Could you type? Maybe not. We learned that at school. Like, it was just such a different time in the world that your parents could kick you outside and you wouldn't be like, what am I going to do for 2 hours? Like, you just disappear and come back when you were supposed to. So I think it is really interesting to watch teenagers now. That and that the fashion from when I was a teenager is now back in, and I get my mom now.
Yeah.
When that stuff, like when the stuff from the 70s was big, when I was in high school, I understand now, because there's things I was like, I could have just kept all that garbage jewelry, like those plastic chokers and all that.
You weren't in high school in the 70s.
No, the things that my mom had in high school came back like early when
in high school.
but there were things that came back that were like retro cool when I was in high school.
That wide-legged jeans?
Yes. And then now it's like the same.
Cool.
It's like now the things that were cool and the grunge and all of those things is like Amira's super into like Converse sneakers and ripped jeans and like she doesn't wear anything but black, red, white, or blue. Sometimes brown. Very plain. Doesn't want anything too flashy. Like she's not like a legally blonde girly girl. She's more like but she also doesn't skateboard. So it is what it is.
She has her own personality.
But she has her own taste. And I think it's interesting because she doesn't, that's the one thing I'll give her credit for. She doesn't fall into what everyone else is wearing. She'll be like, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Which is great, but also annoying because she is so particular.
Mm-hmm.
Are your kids particular?
Yeah. Yeah. I miss when I could just like buy them the clothes that are on sale. Because now it's just like, who's going to wear that? It's like, but it was $3.
Or it's even better when it's, I don't like that. Like, not like, thanks. Like, we were smart enough to fake it.
Oh, yeah.
When
they
we were
don't
kids.
They're
like,
too honest. Yeah. Just
they're
like,
so honest.
Yeah.
Like, I won't wear that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And they know their rights, right?
Yeah.
Like, my parents would punish us. I can't punish my
You'd be
kids.
grateful.
Like,
Someone gave you a gift.
Right?
Yes.
It's like, no, you can't punish
Though
them.
my like nephew who's like 6, if you give him clothes, it over the back of his head and he's like, what else is in the bag? Like, not interested.
That's
not interested in it. I'm a little boy. I want to play with toys. You didn't seriously give me clothes for Christmas or my birthday. So
yeah. I like it. Like I really like, but I like that age. Like I love books that are set in the teenage years. And I always try because I just feel like it's so.
It can go any which way.
It can go anywhere, and also psychologically, it's just like okay, so you're not a kid anymore. You're not an adult yet. Sometimes you get treated as an adult, but sometimes people want you to still behave like a child. Like you don't know. You don't know how to be.
The goalposts move a lot.
Yeah, I think it's so hard. There's so many rules you don't understand.
Have your kids read the book?
I don't think so.
Why do you say I don't think so instead of no?
Because I asked my kid, my daughter was going to come with me, and she was like, I was with you, and so you write the book. I'm like, but you haven't read it yet. And she
what did she think? She picked it up from your brain while you were talking? I was there when you wrote it.
By osmosis. I don't know. I don't think they have. I mean, like my oldest kid is just turned, he's 16.
Okay.
He's 16.
Driving?
I guess they could, not yet. Still terrified to do the exam. I guess because winter. She'll get there. Yeah. But yeah, so I was saying I really love books that are set in the teenage years because it was so hard for me to navigate. It seems clear what the rules are, but everyone is not following. It's just like it seems clear what is right and wrong, but constantly people are doing wrong, and they punish you when you ask them why. It's like that should clearly we shouldn't be doing this, but then it's just like all these gray lines that you don't know how to navigate.
And it's different from when you're a little kid, when you can say why.
Yeah.
And your parents can say because I said so.
Yeah.
But
Now
doesn't hold up.
yes.
It doesn't hold up with a teenager.
No.
And then you just get into a fight and someone leaves a broom and a door might get slammed. Anyway,
Yeah. And you're beginning to read. Like you're beginning to read. You can read. You can tell. You can tell when people. Yeah.
Search it up.
Yes.
As they say.
Yeah.
They don't say Google it. They say search it up.
Search it up. Are you sure?
Ugh.
Search it up.
The lingo and the number of times that I've heard I'm cooked. What does that even mean? Oh yeah, I got called bro.
Is that I'm tired?
From it means like I'm done. So it could mean like I'm done, I'm tired. It could also be like you're done, like no more. Yeah. I got called bro by Amara's best friend last weekend. Thanks, bro.
Okay.
To which I was like, excuse me, and she went,
Sam? Is that like a new side?
That's how they refer to their friends. She's thanks, bro.
Okay.
I'm like, I guess I'm cool. I got called bro. I will know. I like to say I'm hip with the kids. I'm not. Okay, I could obviously talk to you about this forever. Questions in the room? Questions online? Do we have any questions for Irene? Because it is already 7 minutes after 8 o'clock.
Really?
Yes. Normally I cut off my church chatter at 45 minutes. I did not today. My apologies. Do you have any questions?
I do have a question, I guess. So you said you're girls, both girls,
No, there's a boy.
a boy, but they haven't read the book.
No.
Do you think they would find it quite interesting to see like a teenager like from another country, like the experiences and that sort of thing that
I think they
maybe
might.
an understanding of what maybe some of the things that you had gone through?
Your kids are born in Canada?
They're born in Canada, and they've been like when they were younger. We went to Uganda a few times. They don't remember that much, but we went recently, just after COVID, during COVID. We bought our tickets, and then COVID was whatever, and we extended them. And we went to Uganda during the pandemic, had our masks on, but got COVID anyway after we arrived. So they did not have a very good experience of the country. They were sick. So I guess they understand a bit of the culture, like they would more than a Canadian who's never been to Uganda at all. They have that understanding, and they know some of the language because I speak it at home. But I guess the thing I don't worry about it, but it's in the book. So they would read that, and I don't know. No kids want to know that their mom
understands that.
Yeah, right. As if they got
my
born
mom
out
wrote
of
that.
nowhere.
My mom wrote that.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how they would whatever. I could tease about it.
I mean, there's an excellent opportunity to embarrass them in public if they ever make you angry. So
yeah.
Just hold
Yeah.
on.
And
They can tell. You want me to tell your friends about the book I wrote that's full of sex?
they got mad that though I dedicated the book to them, I said to my darling Sprogs. They're like, Sprogs sounds like frogs. Why can't you speak normal English?
I like that.
They're just like, couldn't you just say my kids, like normal, like the way normal people talk? You have to complicate everything.
I do. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just more interested to what are you going to do next? Are you going to do another novel? But you've already answered that question. So.
I do want to do another novel, but I think right now it would be procrastination because like I'm paying to be in this MFA program. Like I should do what I'm supposed to be doing there. And I guess that's a good thing deadline-wise because then it keeps me doing that work. And hopefully when I finish, by the time I finish it, I will have the memoir at a good place that I can leave it and take on something and come back to it without losing the momentum. But I really am interested in nonfiction. I've been reading a lot of nonfiction. It seemed for a while to me that you have to be someone of a certain age to write a memoir. But I'm over 40 now. I feel like I have some life experience. Like I have something, general ideas that everybody knows, but I can use some of my experiences as examples and hopefully make it interesting. We shall see. Yeah.
Yeah, I like nonfiction too.
Yeah.
Any questions online?
Sarah has a question.
Oh, go ahead.
So you've had a lot of success in your name, and not just with CBC reads, but also like a writer to watch.
Mm-hmm.
One of 4, I think, right? Of 4 only. So do you feel like
When people say you're one to watch, that you need to do watch-worthy things.
yeah, or how are you navigating writing the next book with that?
To be honest with you, like praise about, like, it's great. It's great. I appreciate it. I really, I love that. Like, people think that I have something to say, that I'm a good storyteller, and they think that that I might write some more interesting books. I'm always pleased to see that. And I thought that I would feel the pressure, but I don't feel like I need to write my book quickly now. Or I think because I get to writing a little older, that I know that I'm for the most part, I'm just gonna write what I want to write. And if it lands with people, then it does. If it doesn't, maybe the next one. Like, nobody loves every book that they read. Even I sometimes start books and put them away. I'm thinking, okay, that's not jiving with me at the moment. Maybe later. But I don't feel the pressure. I'm grateful. I feel the gratitude, the recognition, but I don't feel the pressure to do anything differently.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm a woman over my 40.
You do get to a point where you're like, I do what I want.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Like,
yeah, I think that's how it has to be. Because if you're writing, like, you're the one doing the work. You're the one living with whatever you're doing, especially when you're writing a memoir. I just have to let it take as long as it takes, because, like, I can have plausible deniability with fiction, but if I'm writing a memoir, people can ask me. It's personal. It's very personal, and it includes other people, and I have to do my due diligence. So I really cannot be rushed, and I don't want to either.
But I think there's something powerful in being like, I'm not for everyone.
This is true, right?
Right? Where you're just like, this is the book I want to write. It'll connect or it won't, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially, I think what might be different for you compared to some writers is you get so much joy out of the process.
Yes.
Not every writer gets the joy out of the process. They get the joy out of the destiny, like the end, where you seem very into the journey.
My God, that would be hard. If you wrote for praise, because there's very little praise.
But there's a reason that authors stay off Goodreads.
I stay off Goodreads.
And that's because with the praise comes the criticism.
Oh my
right?
God, yeah.
And so, but there are some people that, like, especially if you have a big breakout hit, that they feel like, gotta strike while the iron's hot, gotta put out another book really quickly. And sometimes that second book isn't as good because it's rushed too, right? Because they came to that pressure. But if you don't feel that pressure, then you're like, it'll be what it'll be, and you'll get it when you get it.
And, like, on the days, honestly, like, now I'm not, like, I'm on the social media. I am, but, like, I'm only on Instagram on the weekends. Because
how do you have that self-control?
Because, like, it can hijack my, like, dopamine access. I was constantly, like, when there was a Longlist announcement, I was on it. That's all I did that day. And then I thought, I write really slowly. If I'm wasting hours just, like, looking at likes, that's not helpful to me or anybody. And I don't always have all this time to write anyway. Like, I have to work, right? So if I have my time, so I decided to be kind of disciplined it that way. And I put a notice on my page, like, you can email me. This is my email address. And many people have my phone number. So I know that I'm not missing it. Like today I went on there to say, I'm going to do this thing. Like, I can do that. But I find that because I'm such a slow writer, and it's easy, like, when you've just put out a book, to spend so much time on social media doing nothing. And I love being on social media to see what other people are doing, how other people's, books and what they're writing. But that's why I end up spending all the hours there. And then I feel bad at the end of the day because I did not even write 200 words.
So it's very practical.
It's working for me. I forgot my Blue Sky password, so I still have that open all the time until I figure it out. But Blue Sky is not as doom scrolly as, like, Instagram.
I got rid of it.
So
I got rid of Twitter in 2023 or 24.
I got tired of it. I had so many followers and it had been a thing that I'd cultivated for such a long time.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where it was only taking from me. It wasn't giving. I was getting off of it angry every single time. And it wasn't necessarily politics. It could be anything. It just felt like it was the place that you go when you want to like feel unhappy about what's going on in the world, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
And I tried Blue Sky for a while and it just felt so clunky and so different. And I was like, I don't want to learn another social media page, which makes me feel like a grandmother when I'm like, I have too many apps. I don't need another one. But
there's so many social media platforms.
But then I also got TikTok during the pandemic.
Okay.
And
so you know how to do TikTok. I don't know how to do TikTok.
Oh, I can teach you.
Okay.
But it is a time suck.
Okay, so I don't want it then.
And it's designed that way.
Okay.
Because it's dopamine hit. It's flip, next story, flip, next story, don't like it, flip, watch, laugh, flip, next story. And you're getting a lot out of it if you're on the right side of TikTok and you're able to walk away.
Yeah.
But if you are really good at scrolling, you could lose an hour and a half so easily. So I'm impressed by your practicality. I have all my notifications turned off now on all my social media apps. That's the only way I can
manage it.
Function.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I tell my kids don't be on there too much. I also feel like being a pretender if I'm then there too much. Just like you know. Whatever. There's a lot going on in life, like so many crises, so many wars, and you can just be despondent, you know, and then you can't create in that. It's not a good place to create from. It's a hard place to create from. I watch the news, so you know that's
enough.
I can be informed that way.
That's enough.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap because. We're just going to keep, I call this the Saskatchewan goodbye, where I start to slowly wrap things up. And I'm like, oh, wait, one more thing. And then we get closer to the door and I'm like, oh, but also this thing. And then we get outside the door and I'm like, one more thing. And my husband tells me like often, even like when I'm doing the podcast, he'll be like, you tried to say goodbye 5 times before you actually said goodbye. And so I am more cognizant of that. So thank you for coming in. Thank you for the book.